Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, Wooden Railway Adventures, Episode 41, Rickety's Revenge. Rickety had recently been in an accident with Duncan. He had been shoved over the top of the quarry mine tunnel and had thudded onto the ground below. It wasn't Rickety's best experience, and he wished he would forget it, but it was hard to. When he came back for the works from being repaired, all the trucks asked him what had happened. "Well," said Rickety, "it was a frightening experience, but quite cool. I heard you went hello head over heels," said Scruffy. "Was that fun?" "I guess so," said Rickety. "Well, it was different from anything else I've experienced." "Yeah," said Fred. That's just so cool." "Well, not in my case." But the other trucks didn't listen. "Wow," they said, "you're a hero. You took on Duncan." "Not really," said Rickety. He wished he wasn't getting as much attention, but it was hard not to. Later that day, a goods train was to be pulled, and it was going to be Duncan. Rickety now saw something. "I'm going to get revenge on Duncan," he said. "He bumped us hard last time, and I want to get even with him." "What do you want us to do?" asked Scruffy. "Okay, here's what we got to do. When he shunts us, we'll just have to play tricks on him the entire time that you finally give up." "That's kind of hard too," said Scruffy. "Not really, but I've got a plan. When we come out of Gordon's Hill, he said, we'll bang him and bash him hard so he falls off the track. Remember, it's elevated." "That's a good point there," said Fred. I know, said Rickety. "Look, shh, guys, look. Here Duncan comes." Duncan didn't say a word. Duncan came in. "All right, trucks," he said. "I don't want to make this harder than it has to be," he said. "But no more tricks, okay? And especially none when I'm shunting you guys." Soon the goods train was in line. Rickety at the front, Scruffy right behind him, followed by Fred and more troublesome trucks, and at the end was the spiteful brake van. Duncan puffed along his way, but Duncan knew the trucks were going to get even with him. It was hard not to. He stopped by the shed. There were Edward and Thomas. He told them about the trucks. "Don't worry," said Edward. "I've been on this railway for many years, and if you don't bump them, they won't bump you back." "But I did a very serious thing to Rickety." "Well, fine," said Edward, but one thing you have to remember is to remain calm. If you remain calm," he said, "then the trucks won't bump you as much." "I guess that's a good point," said Duncan. "It's better than nothing. And make sure those trucks don't bully you around, especially Scruffy." "I won't," said Duncan, and he continued along his way. He hurried along the line. The trucks weren't being troublesome at the beginning, but he knew as they got closer to their destination, the fun would start for them. Soon they came to the incline, and then next in line was Gordon's Hill. Duncan and his driver knew this is where the trucks were going to start. "Be on your best lookout," said his driver to Duncan. "This is where they'll start their troublesome nonsense." Duncan had to agree. The spiteful brakeman was up off the incline, but now it was time for Gordon's Hill. They came through the tunnel. "Remember the plan," said Rickety. "Remember it." The other trucks listened. "Okay, now!" They started bumping Duncan fiercely. "Oh," said Duncan, "what's happening?" Just stand your ground. I'm putting the brake on you." Duncan stayed his ground, but the trucks were still bumping him hard. "Oh," said Duncan, "what shall I ever do?" Just then he remembered Edward's advice. Remain calm. That was hard to do when the trucks were bumping him furiously. "Oh," he said, "I'll just have to try it." And he pictured everything just calm, and it was. But unfortunately, he pictured it too much. He let go of the brakes, and the trucks pushed him forward. Duncan realized this mistake. "Oh, bother," he said. He stood his ground once again, but the trucks were doing harder. They weren't getting anywhere. "Stop," said Rickety. "It's not working." But unfortunately, all the trucks didn't hear. Everyone heard it except for Fred, who banged Scruffy hard, who banged Rickety hard, who banged Duncan hard. Duncan still stood his ground, but then there was trouble. They banged him so hard that Ricky was beginning to crunch. "Oh," he said, "help, help!" He was beginning to turn up sideways. "Oh," said Rickety, "help!" Then it all went loose. Rickety fell off the track and onto the station. The station fell to pieces. Duncan was shocked. "Oh no," he said. The passengers inside the station. Whatever will they do?" Duncan was soon coupled to the train again, but with one less car. Sir Topham Hatt soon arrived. "I want to know this explanation for this behavior, Duncan," he said. "It wasn't my fault," he said. "It was the trucks." "And how so?" "Well," he said, "they were pushing me. I put on my brakes. Rickety crunched up, and soon he fell to pieces over the side." I see your point there," said Sir Topham Hatt. "Anyway, you'll have to finish the goods train without Rickety. I'll go get the breakdown train." Sir," said Duncan, "were any of the passengers hurt inside the station?" "Luckily, no one was in there at the time. It's very thankful, but this railway needs to be more cautious, especially you trucks." The trucks didn't say a word. Duncan pushed them down the hill and left. Said the trucks, "this wasn't good." "It's all right," said Scruffy. "It's one minor setback, but we're missing a truck. Remember when you got pulled from Oliver? What did it feel like?" Scruffy had a lot to think about now. "And plus," said the spiteful brakeman, "Duncan knows, Sir Topham Hatt knows that we were trying to play tricks on them." "And what about Rickety?" said another truck. Fred was trying not to be mean. "I'm trying not to be mean, Scruffy," he said, but think of other engines for once. Think of other trucks for once." Scruffy had a lot to think about, and he had three things to think about: Rickety, the station, and Duncan.